F-bombs are armed and they may be dropped, but probably not so many. So I was just watching a video by Paper Cartridges, the link will be in the description, where he keeps saying something and it caught my attention. It kept catching my attention. He kept saying 300 yards. Now, I've argued that cartridge doesn't matter in the assault weapon uh, category. And yes, I understand there's this intermediate cartridge, but you can't really define it. Nobody can. And one of the things somebody has, more than one person, and myself included at one point, tried to argue is that intermediate is anywhere in that 200 and 500-yard range. Any rifle with a maximum effective range of between 2 and 500 yards. And this guy keeps saying 300 yard, 300 yard, 300 yard, right? Maximum effective range of black powder muskets. Now, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that if the infantry is closing to that 300-yard range, that's the maximum effective range. Maximum effective range is generally about half of the maximum range. So, and of course, that's just a generalization, but yeah, it typically works out to about that. So, why do people keep saying that 200 to 500 yard intermediate cartridge range? Well, I just caught that literally just now. Um, as a matter of fact, that video is still waiting to be finished, uh, waiting for me to finish watching it. The idea of this intermediate cartridge comes from an interwar study. The US did it, British did it, and the Germans did it. I know that much for absolutely sure and certain. The Russians are said to have done it. The Italians are said to have done it. Um, the French are said to have done it, and at least that has something that I have seen, some evidence that I have seen to back it up. What they did was they tried to figure out rifle deaths and injuries by rifle rounds happened at about what range? Well, the ranges were generally that 2 to 500, 550 yard distances. Well, yeah, because that's where the trenches generally were. And watching that thing on paper cartridges about the range of black powder made me realize the trenches were at those ranges because of the generals who were leading these men into battle. Donkeys and lions or not. Little Brandon F. drop there. Donkeys and lions or not, that's where they had cut their teeth. Black powder musketry, or the very, very end when some units were still issued black powder muskets, but some of the more frontline units might be issued uh, black powder breech loaders, right? That's where they got their start. So that's what they learned to do. They learned that you fight at about that 300-yard range. And that's why they had those trenches. Now, I know I'm speculating a little, quite a bit. Um, and I'm sure somebody somewhere is going to say, oh, no, they didn't. They did it at that range because. But that's the thing that I caught is they were putting them at those 300-yard range, roughly, because that's what they were used to fighting at. Now, I am going to say, I'm not saying intermediate doesn't exist, right? There is a huge difference between the very low end of what everybody accepts as intermediate, 7.6239, and the very low end of what everybody accepts as full power, which would be the 30-06, 303, and I forgot the third one. It's not 7 millimeter. Oh, Lebel or German 7 millimeter, but it's right about there. Um, There's a huge difference between those three categories. But when you get down to it, you can't define it. If you define it based on these studies from mm, out of World War I, you're basically studying black powder musketry, right? You're studying the Civil War, the Napoleonic Wars, the American Revolution. You're not studying what was really capable on the battlefields of Flanders, Somme, etc. Right? I hope this has helped some people to get over this mental block that they have. Probably not, and that's okay. Keep calm and mandatory carry on.